case you didn't know, this is literally my third time filming this video, which you don't know because you're not me, but I filmed this 3 times, and so this is going to be the last time, and this is going to be the perfect time. Since the last time that I've filmed a video. I think the last video that I put up in like this, like sitting down and talking and updating you guys, would have been in March. Since then I posted 2 vacation videos. I have more footage from vacation, just with college and school and everything. It's been hard for me to find the time to edit, so maybe one day I will eventually put those up. Please excuse my tree. It still needs its topper, which is lying around here somewhere, but it's not on the top of the tree. It will be soon. I wanted to take this time to film now to give you a 1-year update on Joe, since September was 1 year since he shipped out for boot camp. I guess that's what you call it, since he left for boot camp. And the beginning of November was 1 year since he's been at his first station, his first unit. And now we're here. And it's 1 year later, and I'm excited to update you all on what's happened and any major changes and whatnot. And so let's get started. But before I do, I just want to thank all those of you that comment on my videos or contact me through Instagram or email me, and those of you who appreciate what I do and what I talk about and who like my videos. And I'm very appreciative of you all that you share your stories with me as well. I love hearing from all of you. I love talking to you. I love sharing what I've been through with you if you guys want to hear what I've been through. And I just love all of the love and support that you've given me, and I'm sending it right back to all of you guys. So thank you for listening and watching and understanding. And I hope that you continue to listen, watch, and understand. So now we can get started. So there is 2 types of timelines that I'm going to do. There's going to be the timeline of his military career and where that's taken us over the past 6 months. And then there's going to be a timeline on what our relationship has been like in the past 6 months, cumulative with what the last video I put up was about, so in the past year. So let's start with his military career because that's the easiest. At the end of March, he qualified at his first unit, which meant that he was finally able to decide which A-school waitlist he wanted to put himself on. He did not put himself on an A-school waitlist until June. I'm not sure if I can talk about which A-school list he put himself on, so if you want to know, you can email me. But he did do that, which was a big milestone. In April, he had found out that the boat was going to be going into dry dock, and he didn't know where it would be, if it would be in Florida or North Carolina or South Carolina. It could have been anywhere on the East Coast, and he didn't know where it would be. But it ended up being Rhode Island, and he left for dry dock in July. And it's now December, which means that he's basically been there for 6 months now. They were supposed to have left at the end of October or early November, but there are problems with them leaving, so he's still currently in Rhode Island, even though his unit is Philadelphia. So he also, and this is the exciting part, he also got orders for A-school, I think it was this month, or maybe late October. So now we're all, me and him and his family, and we're all, excited and looking forward to him taking this next step in his life. And now we have to, get ready for him to go, because he's going to be gone for however many months. And it's just all very exciting pertaining to him and what he's achieved in the past 6 months. He also moved up to E3, I think, in May, maybe. And he has a certificate for that. And it's just, very exciting. I'm glad to still be here, standing by his side, and be able to film about this and talk about this, especially after our relationship that we've had this past year. This past year for us has been incredibly, incredibly difficult because there's been a lot of change and there's been a lot of surprises. There's been a lot of disappointment, a lot of anger, but there's also been a lot of growth, and there's been a lot of understanding, and there's been a lot of love, there's been a lot of happiness and a lot of laughter. And so even though it's been really hard on me, and I'm sure it's been hard on him, I personally would walk the road we walked this past year. I'd walk it over 1,000,000 times. I would always make the choice to go through what we went through that brought us where we are today. There's no other choice I would make. So I'm going to start talking about our relationship now, which might be a little hard for me, and it might be a little hard to understand, and I'm not going to go in depth about everything, but I'm going to try to make you guys understand what we've been going through. So since our last video, he had had his accident in February, and I think our second Valentine's Day, well, technically it was our first as a couple, was that February, and our first anniversary, or our 1 year of dating, was that February, and I didn't get to see him much because he was underway a lot. February, he definitely changed, and I didn't know it then, but looking back on it, I know I can pinpoint that as the time that, like, he emotionally cracked, and it wasn't just for me. I think it was from a bunch of things, because I'm not the only thing in his life that's stressful, guys, just so you know. But it was definitely a lot of things, and he emotionally cracked. And he's still standing today. He's fine. He's sane. He's alive and well. He's just not, he's more guarded than he used to be. And this has taken a toll on our relationship because I feel the change in him, and I don't like it. It's not the person that I knew, and it's not the person that I fell in love with. But I know it takes time for everybody to heal, and everybody heals at their own rate. He definitely changed. He's definitely become more guarded. He talks less about things that bother him because he doesn't know what reactions he'll get out of people. I've definitely seen that change in him. And like I said, in March he qualified. So that winter was very tough for me. And I was seeing a therapist, and I was trying to work through my personal problems because they were starting to project themselves onto him, and that wasn't fair to him, having extra stress for me. I did get a lot better. Definitely by April, I was good with his career and with acceptance and with understanding. And I think a part of the reason why I had so much problems understanding is because I think they call it like a AAA personality, and I'm also a control freak. So me not being able to control my relationship and not being able to, like, plan dates and, like, go out and, like, plan holidays and things like that, that drove me insane. I didn't know how to handle it, and I was blaming it on the fact that he chose to join the Coast Guard. But now, I think the Coast Guard's the best thing that could have ever happened to us, personally. In April, he came home for Easter. He broke up with me, and actually he asked for a break. That is when I found out about dry dock, which is when he also found out about dry dock. It was like late March or April. And he told me about it, and he told me he was worried because he didn't know where he would be and if I would be okay with it being him, like if he was in Florida for 3 months, he didn't know how I'd handle it. And like I said, in April, I had finally reached a good, like, a solid ground, and I was okay with the idea of him being in dry dock. I still had all of April, May, June to be with him, and I was okay with it. Like, I knew that he had to go where the work needed him. Or, yeah, whatever, where the Coast Guard needed him. I knew that, and I was okay with it. He still wanted a break for other reasons, and so he ignored me all Easter weekend, Saturday and Sunday. And then Monday, before he left to go home, he came back and told me that he didn't want a break. He came to my house and told me that he didn't want a break and that we weren't going to have a break. So we ended up not taking a break. I'm also going to just say, like, right here really quick, he's my first boyfriend and he's my first relationship. And when we first started dating, before he had left for the military, any little thing that he did wrong, I would use it as an excuse to say, I'm going to break up with you. We're done. I don't want to be with you anymore. And it was really wrong of me to do that because even though I was still falling in love with him, Joe was very much, I guess if he would tell you that he was very much in love with me in those early months, and it really hurt him that I would do those things. And I didn't understand that. And even though when I broke up with him, I would never leave, like, he breaks up with me, and the difference between me doing it to him and him doing it to me is he'll break up with me and he'll drive 3 hours away and, like, not talk to me for, like, 3 days to a week or more. Where if I were to do it, I would just say it and, like, I would never act upon it. And I'm not saying that saying it is any better than actually doing it, because both are equally as bad, and my actions created a toxic pattern for us. That's definitely taken and is still taking a while to break. We've just gotten a lot more mature about it than we were in the past. So yes, in April, he dumped me, then told me he wanted a break, then told me he didn't want a break, ignored me for a whole weekend, then saw me before he went home, and then we got back together. He came back 2 weeks later. I saw him again. He came back home, and we broke up again. I did a lot of things wrong, but I love this car. True. This time, we stayed broken up for a week. The same week, my uncle got sick. He was hospitalized. He didn't want anything to do with me. He didn't like me at all. He basically hated me as a person. And I went through a really hard time. I did not eat for the whole week. Like, I just didn't want food. Nothing tasted good. Not even junk food. Junk food didn't even taste good. Nothing would go down my esophagus. And I tried to go to the church one day, because that's where I used to go when he was in boot camp. And pulling out of my garage, I clipped the side of my Jeep and never even got to the church. I was such an emotional wreck. We ended up getting back together because he had allowed me to go see him the following weekend, so a week later. And we were good, I think, from this point on. I started being the best idea of a girlfriend that I could be in my head. And we were good for all of the rest of April and May. He turned 19. We went to Hershey for his birthday. I got to go to a Phillies baseball game with him and some people from the boat. And I got to meet his boss and some of his coworkers. And I was just super excited to feel a part of that. And that was the first time I felt a part of something, I don't know, essentially, okay, I should say it's the second time I felt a part of something that's essentially bigger than what I am or than what we are. So I did have a nice, good few months with him. In June, I was in a summer program with my school, and I had an internship in the city that lasted until August. I don't remember anything happening in June. I think June was an okay month. And then in the beginning of July, we broke up again. He broke up with me again. And this time I was kind of not okay with it, because I didn't feel like it was my fault. And I was kind of starting to feel bad for myself. I didn't understand why he kept dumping me, why he didn't love me the way I wanted to be loved, even though I was giving him everything I had. And so this time, as hard as it was for me, I distanced myself and I let him break up with me, and I didn't beg, and I didn't try to fight for the relationship. And it lasted about a week, and he asked me to come help him with something, and I went down to Delaware to help him, and he told me how he felt about me, and he apologized, and we got back together. This was a turning point in our relationship, because he decided, I didn't negotiate the terms very well. He decided that he wanted to keep the relationship quiet for a little while, so he didn't tell certain people. And we dated like this for about 6 weeks. And I was not okay with that at the time, because I had a lot of pride, and I didn't understand why I should be dating somebody in secret if I'm investing so much of myself into them. But I'm glad we did it, because in hindsight, we needed to figure out if the problem was within the relationship or if the problem was rooted from stress from external factors. So we did do that for 6 weeks. I got kind of tired of it after 6 weeks, because I realized we were pretty stable when it was just me and him and no problems. And so he was coming home at this point, the 6-week point. It was August 20th. He was coming home, and he told me he was going to let everybody that needed to know that we were still dating. And in fact, we ended up breaking up again. This was my favorite breakup of all of them, because this was the first time I've handled a problem or an argument maturely. And so something went wrong, and he said he wanted to break up, and I didn't. I didn't threaten to break up with him. I didn't insinuate it. I was mad at him. I took my time to cool down. But I did not ask to break up, and he was the one who wanted to break up, and so I was kind of done. When he came to say goodbye and he saw me, he decided he didn't want to be broken up, and he decided that the relationship meant more to him than whatever it might cost him, than whatever else might go wrong because we're still dating. So I gave him another chance. I forgave him because I think that that's what a relationship is about. It's about forgiveness. And we moved on. And so now we're here, and it is now November, and it's now Christmas time, and we are actually doing okay. There's still things that bother me, and there's still things that bother him, but we've gotten to a point where we argue, and I cry, and I get upset, and I yell, or Joe storms away. Well, actually, Joe's way of dealing with things is to resort to acting like a 5-year-old child, so sometimes he does that, but then we get over it, and we realize that at the end of the day, we still really love each other, and that what we have together is greater than what we may do that hurts each other every so often. And it's been a very hard realization, and it's something that I'm still having a hard time grasping, but he's changed, and he and I are both growing up, and even though I'm trying to stay true to myself as I grow up, other people might not. Other people's personalities might change, and like the way they see the world might change, and I think a lot of that is happening with Joe, and I love him at the expense of that. I will always love him. So even though I don't like that he's changing, I am learning to love every version of him, slowly but surely. Also, it's also been a hard realization that love sucks. Loving someone is sacrifice and pain and sadness and despair, and it's always going to be that no matter what, because you're two different people, and he'll always want to do what he wants to do. And even though I'm a very selfless person and I always put what other people need before what I want or need, not everybody's like that. And all that I want in life is for him to be happy, and I also want myself to be happy, and that means that he makes me happy. I want to be with him, and so at all costs, no matter what he puts me through, even though it sucks that I'm putting this out there and he's going to know this, and he's going to know that, like, he can do whatever he wants because I'm always going to forgive him, but that's as simple as it is. I think there's very few things that he would have to do that would definitely, like, cause an end in our relationship. But so far, we finally got to this point of stability, and I'm looking forward to the new year and hoping that our second year is a lot better. I talk to a lot of people, and like you can like tell me if you agree, but I think the first year is the hardest year because that's when people's true colors start to show and they get completely comfortable with who they are around their significant other, and people might not always like who that real person is on the inside. And I think that the day that we live in today with Tinder and Bumble and like dating websites and social media, it's really easy to just walk away at that 1 year point, or at whatever point or however long it takes for like the two people to get completely comfortable with each other. It's really easy to just walk away and find a replacement in somebody else. And I think that the message that I'm trying to send is, especially in a military relationship or any relationship really, I think even though it's the harder thing to do, the more rewarding thing to do is to fight and to endure and to do your best to stay with what you love than to walk away and have to start something so beautiful all over again. And I'm not saying you can't fall in love more than once. You can definitely fall in love like 6 million times, but I just love the love I have, and I would do anything to keep it, and I think that that's the only way that I would ever go. I would never want to destroy what I have for something else, to work to start something new all over again with somebody new. I hope you liked the video. I constantly try filming on like my good cameras. My Canon makes my face look like it was squashed in the womb. I can't figure out why. And sometimes my GoPro looks super clear. Like the video will look super clear, but then sometimes it just doesn't. And I also can't figure out why. So I definitely am having a tech problem, and if anybody can help me with that, it would be super awesome, because I have both. Like, here's the Canon. Here's the GoPro, and here's the Canon. I just don't know, like, why this one makes me look like a freak, and this one, like, won't shoot in 1080p, even though I have it on 1080p. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'm definitely going to be filming more because there's a lot of eventful things coming up in the next month or so. For him, for me, for us together, for family and friends. There's just a lot of great things happening. I have a couple videos in mind, but they're not about the military, so I don't know how well it'll go out to my general public. I love you all for listening and supporting and watching me, and I hope that you continue to do. And if you like my videos, please like and subscribe. If you'd like to know more in depth about like what it's been like regarding his career and the changes, I can definitely make another video, but I've been okay, so there's not much for me to talk about. Every change and every piece of news that I get about his work now, I take well, and I assimilate to it, and I work my life around what his life is going to be like, and it's been going well for me lately, and our lives have just been meshing together pretty seamlessly, and I'm really happy with where we are. And so all of you guys that have followed us so far, or followed me and my talking so far, thank you. I appreciate it. I love hearing your stories. I'll put my contact information below, and I hope you liked this video, and I'll be talking to you guys again soon. Happy holidays, everybody!